Okay.
Cảm ơn Brother Trinh Quang. Okay. Okay, let us start now. Warm welcome to our book masters, Hualien Dharma team, and brothers and sisters around the globe to Saturday Hualien Dharma talk. Let us start the session for today. Now let us send our sincere prayers into the 10 directions. May the Sangha land be free from disaster and peace prevails in the world. Let us sing the prayer song with sincere pietism.
In my heart, I feel deep gratefulness. All my heart is filled with sincere prayer. From all corners of the world, let us join our hearts and pray for a world of harmony and peace. From my heart, I pray. May we join our hands, our hearts as one. Spread the seeds of great love, nurture wisdom evermore. Let us fill the world with hope. In my heart, I feel deep gratefulness. May all the Buddhas know my prayer. All united with one heart, let us end our hate with love. May there be no suffering hereafter.
May all minds be purified. May there be peace in the community. May there be no disasters in the world. Now let us pray together for universal love and blessing. With loving respect, gratitude, and confidence, let us wish every person in our lives a healthy body, an enlightened mind, and a total fulfillment in universal love. Now let us expand this consciousness to include every person in the world, every being in the universe. Let our unified love make this wonderful world even better. Let us all immerse ourselves in the joyful embrace of universal love. Before we hear the wonderful sharing, let us invite our masters to lead us in paying homage to the Triple Gems. Let us pay our respects for these teachings and explanations to the Buddha and Master Cheng Yen by making 3 sincere bows. Please rise, palms together. First bow. Second bow. Third bow. And a bow to our beloved abode masters who could join us today. Here today we have three sharers, Brother Ssu-Kuan, Brother Joe, and Brother David Liu. Okay, so now I will share the weekly summary, which is prepared by Sister Su Ching. She's not able to be available today. Okay, so I'll share on behalf. Okay, last week, Brother Joe entails refined reflections touch, breaking guards that shield the heart's clutch. Tzu stories are real and moving, hold power to change us only when emotions start blooming. A parable unfolds a man of wealth, witnessing fires spreading in his house and alarming himself. For his children trapped in a house ablaze, his desire arose to shield them in myriad way. Whom and what do we yearn to defend in this vast world where hope extends? Master's mission is to safeguard us all from perils that befall both big and small. The father can easily be able to flee the fiery plight, stands outside with his children in plight sight. Engrossed in play and unaware of the flame, they remain trapped, not knowing the game. How can we discern if fire ignites? Master warns, but only a handful choose to fight. In the face of disbelief, we strive to make choices that ensure those whom we choose to save will survive. Brother Sean Tan shared, this is a summary for Brother Sean. Tzuji's core principle brightly gleam. Directness, priority, respect, practical, and immediate, a compassionate team. Sympathy and empathy are two paths revealed. One moves with ego, the other is with heart unsealed. Serbia, where strife and winter's cold did meet, refugees seeking solace, a challenging feat. Through sea, the refugees sailed from Syria to Europe, they aspired. Destination Germany was the hope that inspired. In 2015, when borders closed, it was a disheartening sight. In Syria, living conditions held no respite. Humid, cold odors, the camp's bleak domain. Even professionals seeking refuge in this terrain. What caused to take amidst this trying scene? Bread and biscuits made the meager meals so lean. No hot food was allowed, and thus NGOs' hands were tied. Tzu dared to change and made hearts open wide. Instant rice provided warmth and relief. Feedback sought modification brought belief. The refugees' needs were acknowledged and the food ingredients were rearranged. Respectful adjustments were made and compassion and exchanged. The dining hall beckoned, but fear gripped the rest. Chaos they dreaded was a perilous test, but Tzu stepped forth and embraced the risk. An orderly conduct blossoming in their midst. Gratitude, respect, and trust are reciprocated. This is not just a mission, but love unbiased. In Mozambique's land, where Idai's waft had struck, the Buzi River's delta swollen swallowed in a series of bad luck, houses washed away and shelters in disrepair. Brother Dino's report and urge cry to bear. 44 souls a cup of beans to share. Dilapidated shelter a sight of despair. Sisi extended with tools and seeds. Emergency recovery fertilizing the land with good deeds. Metenga, the place unreachable and bleak. Local drivers refuse dangerous voice they speak. But love was communicated to the locals and the plan clearly laid. Elders given priority and trust firmly made. Sisi practiced no distinctions of race, religion, or fame. In disaster's wake, we bear the same name. While others sympathize, Sisi empathizes. Love's embrace their beacon, shining through the rise. Okay, Gan for listening. Now let us hand over to Sister Stephanie for the next sharer. Gan.
Sister Lily, and good morning, brothers and sisters, and especially very good morning to Brother Ssu-Kuan, who is able to join us today. Yeah, I think without further ado, we would really like to now invite Brother Ssu-Kuan to give his sharing about the power of loving kindness and compassion. I think Brother Ssu-Kuan will take us to review and relearn the lessons from Myanmar, Nepal, and India. Please welcome Brother Ssu-Kuan.
Okay, 感恩 Sister Lily and Sister Stephanie. Okay, I think you can see my share screen now. All right. Okay, dear Shangren, both masters, brothers and sisters, very good morning to you all. Time really flies. We are already entering the second half of the year. That's very fast. Yeah, recently we just had 2 batches of Commissioner and Faith Corp certification in Hualien for the 1,000 volunteers who hadn't been able to come to Taiwan due to COVID pandemic over the past 3 years. It was a truly joyful time for all of us. Some of you might have someone close to you who just got certified by Shangren. You can feel the joy, I believe, like myself. My younger brother also got certified this time. He was in the second batch because he was a Singapore volunteer. Yeah, and some of my families attended the ceremony and we took a family picture. And I believe this time, this certification ceremony, along with the Buddha Day ceremony, give Master a lot of strength. Because on the Buddha Day, Shangren can directly feel the local bodhisattva sort of like emerge from the ground in Taiwan. While on the overseas volunteer certification ceremony, Shangren can feel the bodhisattva emerge from all over the world, the Saha world. So all this also implies that the pandemic is, we hope, ending soon. We have endured 3 challenging years and finally we are turning to a new chapter of humanity. But of course, it doesn't mean we can slacken. Instead, we must not forget this lesson from the nature. We must still be very pious and sincere towards the environment and all beings. Because there are still many unresolved issues and still many challenges ahead. Disasters and pandemic could happen more frequent if we are not respecting the nature and if we are not diligent enough in spreading kindness around the world. Actually, not merely spreading kindness, we should promote the Buddha spirit of great unconditional loving kindness and the great universal compassion. It is our resolution to inspire many more people to volunteer, to contribute, to walk on the Bodhisattva path, to reach out to the many dark corners of the world, not only in our contemporary time, but for many generations to come. So recently, Shangren heard the project report of our works in Buddha homeland. So Master recalled something from Myanmar which left a deep impression in Master, and Master said to the Malaysia volunteers, because Malaysia volunteers was deeply involved in Myanmar work. So Master said to them, while you are still in a boat in Hualien, please do more sharing on those heartwarming stories from Myanmar. Stories from Malaysia should also be shared too. Those historical moments, footprints of love, we should revisit them, and we should not forget the year, the people, the inspiration, the resolution. So on last Sunday, there was this very inspiring sharing during the morning volunteer assembly, whereby Sister Tzu or Sister Cecilia told about the story of great compassion in 3 countries. And what's meaningful is that she linked her sharing very closely to the family heirloom of wisdom life, which actually is the resolution or vow of Tzu Chi volunteers that we read very often, but we seldom ponder about. And so I think it is really worth sharing it with you all today. We shall begin by looking at the first part of the resolution of Tzu Chi volunteers. The Buddhist Tzu Chi Foundation carries on the Buddha spirit of great unconditional loving kindness and great universal compassion, and adheres to Venerable Master Yin Shun's noble aspiration for Buddha's teachings for sentient beings, while undertaking the work of helping the poor and educating the rich. Therefore, our ideal is to cultivate loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity as we take action to save those in pain and suffering. We bring joy and relieve suffering, creating a fresh and pure world of Tzu Chi. I highlighted the last phrase because many people tend to forget and stop short at bringing joy and relieve suffering in their work. But actually, the main point is to create a harmonious world. So to see how we create a pure world of Tzu Chi, let's now go into our first story, which is about Mr. Subhas in Nepal. He is a case referred to us by the Lumbini Municipality Office. He is 34 years old. His parents have passed away. He has 3 elder brothers. His sister is already married far away in India. And his legs are disabled due to polio, as you can see in the photo, but he's able to take care of himself, and he runs a small business at his home. This is the external view of his grocery shop. He sells mainly biscuits and some other items. That includes betel nuts, cigarettes, which is not very good stuff, and also beers. We can see empty beer boxes stacked up quite tall in his room. He hoped we can provide him a motorized tricycle, which the local people call tuk-tuk. But the team observed that he actually still has a manual tricycle that is still functioning. In this video, he demonstrated how he drives his tricycle. You will be amazed by how well he can climb up and navigate this vehicle. Okay, let's see.
Yeah. See? Oh, he knows how to do it.
He is like so fast.
Yeah.
Show us how to. Oh.
Ah, yeah, he knows that.
Oh, that's how it works.
Very interesting tricycle. Although my first time to see this in this video. Okay. At that time, the team was thinking about Master's teaching regarding sincere help, because how are we supposed to help him such that he can really feel our love and such that our help doesn't deviate from our principle. Because we are also thinking he's selling those betel nuts, smoked cigarettes, bears. So how can we transform him? So thinking about Master's teaching about sincere help, the team actually thought about this Master teaching on 27 June 2022. So Master was giving sermon based on the case of Sharada. If you remember, she's a blind lady whose little boy crawled on the ground to get his milk bottle. Master said we should use bodhisattva hearts to give back to all sentient beings. They too have a sincere heart. We have this affinity with them. We see them. That's because they have their own blessings or good karma from the past. So bodhisattva should begin to truly help them. So the team shared with Mr. Subhas about how our charity fund was collected from every cent of sincere loves which accumulate into the sea of merits. We share with him the story of a Burmese polio case who, despite having difficulty getting a handful of rice, still save rice every day to help other people. Like the verse in the Infinite Meaning Sutra, this Burmese fellow is truly a bodhisattva that can be living beings, true mentor and guide. And we also share with him a case in Myanmar who developed oral cancer. But Mr. Subhas was quick to say he actually get our point. So he said that's just like what's depicted on the cigarette box. He told us he himself never smoked. So you can see that he's actually quite smart. But of course we still advise him it is even though you don't smoke yourself, but it is not good to sell this harmful product to others. After all the sharing, we asked him, what is the assistance that you really need from Tzu Chi? He said, though with a bit of reluctance, no, there isn't. He replied, no, okay. But we said, then we need your help. That's because we know Shangren cares about all beings. Shangren said we should give back, or in Chinese word, 回向 to sentient beings, which literally means sharing some of our merits or blessings to the sentient beings. But that won't happen just by imagining we share our good karma to others. We actually need to take action, and the best thing is to guide them to turn from palm up to palm down, so that they can truly create blessings for themselves. So we invite him to volunteer in Tzu Chi and create blessings together. He put on our volunteer vest, and we invite him to do home visit in one of our care recipients' house, because every person's life is a great sutra, and we believe he can gain some wisdom from this home visit. So this care recipient is paralyzed due to car accident while he was working in the Middle East. Every day when his wife helped him do nursing, do rehab exercise, it was so painful that he almost lost his will to live. We hope Mr. Subhas and this case can encourage each other and cherish their own blessings while witnessing the challenges of each other. After the home visit, Mr. Subhas quickly boarded our van. We thought he was not comfortable with the home visit, but then we realized he was actually rushing back home to open his shop. We think that since he has a business mindset, why don't we help him diversify his business? That should help increase his income. Also, hopefully, he can stop selling betel nuts, cigarettes, and beers, all those harmful products. So we did a market survey with him, and we helped him get stocks from the wholesale market in India where things are cheaper. We helped him purchase 14 different items, as you can see from this list. The wholesalers said, why are you making things so difficult and complicated for yourself? Why don't you simply give him rice or some food? We say, no worry, we do this very willingly. We wonder if the home visit that Mr. Subhas did can give him the strength to transform himself. But we can see he was very joyful indeed. He even cared if we have taken our meal. he wanted to offer us his biscuits and water. So now we have become a family, and we asked his neighbors whether they agree with the way we help. They say, the heaven has sent some messengers to help him. Why don't we, being his neighbors, give him a helping hand? So 3 days later, we heard he has already sold out all the stocks we prepared for him, and he went to India again to replenish his stock. So we are really glad to be able to help Mr. Subhas and see his transformation. And this case relates very well with the words in our family heirloom. So our method is with a wisdom that perfectly melts principle and practice. We actively invite good people of the world to cultivate this field of blessings together. By diligently planting countless heart lotuses, together we'll create a society of love. So not only are we inviting Subhas to help, we're also inspiring his neighbors to help. We deeply believe that all sentient beings are equal and that every person possesses Buddha nature. As long as we can enter through the door of compassion, we can get a glimpse of the majesty and beauty of the Buddha's teachings. Just like in Mr. Subhas' case, we see hope, we see the power to transform an individual and gradually the community. We can see how a life enters into the life of another, inspiring the other individual. Like the Myanmar polio bodhisattva has inspired Mr. Subhas, and Mr. Subhas himself visit another disabled care recipient and they inspire each other. That's like passing on the lights, eventually lighting up many candles that can brighten up the world. If we trace back to where the light comes from, we see that the light has been passed from Malaysia, which is in turn from Taiwan, where Shangren resides. And the origin of the light, of course, started from the Buddha. Shangren often praised Malaysia volunteers for their diligence on the Bodhisattva path. There are many heartwarming stories of selfless giving, whereby the volunteers very sincerely go into the life of the needy and take care of them just like their own family members, with great unconditional loving kindness. So let's now visit a case in Malaysia. It's in Air Itam of Penang Island. This case is Madam Lee. She suffered from kidney failure and had swollen legs. Actually, her husband had a car accident. He became bedridden and remained in vegetative state. He was the sole breadwinner of the family. So Madam Lee lost her financial support. And at the same time, she also suffered from kidney failure, almost to the verge of needing dialysis. So, and she had this swollen leg, and due to her weak legs, one time she fell down and she too lost mobility and had difficulty taking care of herself. And her 16-year-old son has no idea how to take care of her. She only sit on the chair whole day and excrete right on the spot. So Tzu Chi volunteers came to help clean her up. It wasn't easy task at all. The house was also extremely cluttered with very poor hygiene, and there was the smell, very difficult for ordinary people to go near. Yet the Bodhisattva cannot bear to see her sufferings, so they overcame all the difficulties to take care of her. Because she's not able to stand, our sister let her lean on their shoulder as if they are siblings or close friends. The sister said, "Come, lean on me. We will lift you up. Don't worry, don't be afraid." While helping to clean Madam Lee, the sisters noticed she has bad sores. So they think it is best to take her to nursing home for easier care. It takes a few volunteers to help her navigate step by step through the clutters of the house to outside of the house. And so they are able to send her to the nursing home. Let's see part of the news video.
一场车祸毁了李秀云一家的天伦。
他的先生遇到车祸。
一场车祸毁了李秀云一家的天伦。
他的先生遇到车祸，然后就住在医院，好像一个植物人。因为他们一路来啊，就是依靠 Madam Lee 的丈夫的，他们吃这些全部是她的丈夫来处理，帮她处理的。
屋漏偏逢连夜雨，李秀媛自己也因为双腿无力而在家中跌倒，失去行动力的李秀媛整日坐在椅子上无法自理。16岁的儿子也不懂如何帮母亲打理，只能任由母亲在椅子上就地解决。志工接到邻居的通知后，便前来为李秀云清理身体。
lúc men cha lúc quá quá về chín hàng từ lúc chiều
tôi chuẩn bị xếp ok bằng sai bằng cả phụ chính cô là cùng bộ cái là đây là cả chị。
施工发现李秀云身上长有褥疮，于是安排人医会医师为她清理伤口，并为李秀云找到一家疗养院，让她安顿养伤。志工也经常到疗养院关怀李秀云，除了要。
So at the nursing home, we mobilize our team of volunteers to dress her wound. The volunteers also care for Madam Lee's son, and they mobilize more volunteers to help clean the house so that the son has a normal environment to live in. Okay. So seeing our efforts, a social welfare officer was very moved. She asked, as it's very hard to believe, is this how Tzu Chi usually care for the recipients? Okay, just like in Mr. Suba's case, we tell the officer, the Buddha views all sentient beings with compassionate eyes, and the Dharma reign of his teachings fall on all universally, so that all can flourish. How compassionate, how wise. So we can actually, the Buddha teaching can inspire many people to come and help. Okay. Because Tzu Chi volunteers all take the Buddha's heart as their own. When one eye sees, thousands of eyes can see. Because we take our teacher's mission as our own, when one hand moves, 1,000 hands move. When we hear the cries of others in suffering, we immediately go to their aid and relieve them of their difficulties. This is no different from the 1,000 eyes and hands of Kuan Yin Bodhisattva. So, and so from one person, the main person who in charge of this case, then come 2 person to help lift this Madam Lee up and help her clean up, and then we have a team of people to help clean her home and care for her son as well. So Madam Lee and her husband passed away not long after. The volunteers continue to care for her son. Although life is impermanent, although she only met Tzu Chi for a short period of time, we have let her feel the love in the world. Here our family heirloom says, life is impermanent. Our life slip away with each passing day. We must take advantage of this precious life to plant good seeds and reap good fruits. Then we can avoid the regret of entering a mountain full of treasures but leaving empty-handed. So we are glad that we have created a good affinity and good memory with Madam Lee's family. So life is impermanent. Seize the moment to do good deeds, plant good seeds. This is what Sharon always practices and teaches us. In one Myanmar project, Sharon further said that even if a patient has only 1 day left to live, we are to do our best so that his soul can see the final light of his life. So let us now go to Myanmar to revisit this story. It was in Myanmar's Thabawa Nature Center, which provides a place for people to meditate and at the same time houses the old, the weak, the sick and the dying people. Our volunteers were deeply saddened when they first see this place. all the newly arrived residents are each allocated only a 20 feet square feet space. This case were mentioned by Master recently. We found a patient who had a big wound beside his chest, and there was a 360 cm long cotton gauze placed in his wound. To properly treat him, we took that gauze out over 3 meters long. Even the sight is unbearable for us, yet this patient endured the pain silently without any complaint. Let's take a look at this video with English subtitles.
缅甸自然禅修中心36.7甲地，
Sorry.
多栋建筑参差林立，鸟瞰状似美好，但许多收容在屋里的人又贫又病。路过的人啊，你们看到我眼中的泪吗？请求你们停下脚步，伸伸手，跟我说话吧。靠近死亡的感觉，我们也很害怕。禅修里教导面对因果，我们也许坦然，但孤单、病苦是真的很痛，痛得无力招架。大型安置区，一人挨着一人睡，菜桶、尿桶并列。均温40度的4月里，排泄物异味凝聚，闷热让人喘不过气，更别提清洗。禅修法师收容贫苦之人，如同垂死之家，仅能遮风避雨，走完人生最后1里路，无等比医疗照护。缅甸慈济人医会协同志工定期义诊探视。胸边拳头大的洞得用近360公分长的纱布才能填满，咬了牙全程不喊痛。有医师进房换药就是大幸了，洞口直通肺，结核病加上肺积水，没钱就医，熬过了生死，侥幸留命。有别于一般来此义诊团体，慈济人医会当日助诊外，还深入网诊。但中心内艾滋病、开放性肺结核又无减伤分类区，就算义诊，志工自身也得当心注意。
They rely on the medical person too much, so we must train their mind to be self-confident. To take care of themselves and to make their environment clean.
全缅甸每月有将近90多位贫病者送来这里，天地之大，一床一铺就是所有。看看他们，想想自己，或许幸福您会重新定义。
Okay, so seeing the very poor living condition of the patients, Master said, in May 2018, even if a patient has only 1 day left to live, we must still let his soul see the heavenly light. So Master advised and encouraged the volunteers to build simple housing using prefabricated materials, and hope this can be completed soon so that the patient have a good place to live in. Thus, volunteers from Myanmar, Malaysia and Taiwan work together in order to relieve the patient's suffering. We communicate with the patients about moving to a new building, telling them Master has known their difficulties. So they have, seeing they have only very little possession, we have prepared 45 items as a gift for them to move into the new home. We mobilized many volunteers to clear the area, build the building using prefabricated housing material, and we carefully set up and decorate the place. Within 3 months, a new home has been completed and ready for the patient to come in. So let's see this video clip.
遮阳板，志工一片一片仔细擦拭，检疫屋里屋外也全都大扫除一番。
Already treating the patient like our own family members.
修中心新居落成，慈济志工像自家人办喜事般用心布置。
တို့စိတ်ထဲမှာလည်းဝင်းနေကြေကွဲမှုလေးတွေရှိဒဏ်ရာတွေရှိခဲ့တယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒါပေမဲ့ဒီလာတဲ့ခါကျရင်နှွေးထွေးမှုလေးနဲ့ပြည့်စုံမှုလေးနဲ့ရှိအောင်လို့တို့အတွက်မပူပင်ရအောင်
新家布置好了，慈济志工回到禅修中心原来的住处，协助居民整理私人物品，准备搬迁。
So we accompany them to move into the new building.
相较于旧的住所，新家每人都有一张床、自己的橱柜和完全属于自己的个人用品。好几位居民在踏进新家那一刻喜极而泣。
So this man said, "Never in my life have I thought about living in such a good place, but which is actually still quite a simple place, but it is already a very luxurious place for them." So he said, he will forget. I mean, he will remember Ssu Ching good deeds forever in his life. And so he said, Ssu Ching also saw his name on the towel blanket we give to him, and he will forever remember this love. He will not forget.
迁居新家，志工除了张罗硬体，也特别准备了入厝午餐。大家吃得满脸笑意，有人更对志工许下了承诺。
So some of the residents also vow that they will change their bad habit. They will not smoke anymore. They will not chew the betel nuts. Okay. So then there is this patient who is in his final days. Okay, let's look at the video. So he take a few volunteers to carry him onto his bed. We feed him, but then he actually is not able to eat. Because he is in his final days already, but the volunteers doesn't realize that at that time. So whatever he ate, he vomited up. So we asked him to take a rest. Yeah. And so on 15 August 2018, 3 months after Master mentioned about the heavenly light, we completed the home, and this uncle moved into the new home along with other patients. He passed away peacefully 2 days later on 17 August. We never thought Master teaching would be realized so soon, almost exactly as what Master said. Even if a patient has only 1 day left to live, we must still let his soul see the heavenly light. Had it not been Shangren's great compassion and the team seizing the time, this uncle and perhaps many more lives would have left this world without seeing the light of hope, the light of great love. That would be very regrettable, but fortunately we have made it. And this heartwarming bodhisattva story is one thing we can share with the future generations. All right, that's all I have to share today. 3 stories in 3 countries. It's almost like touch and go. But all these stories are manifests of great unconditional loving kindness and great universal compassion. Also an embodiment of our resolution and vow written down in our family heirloom of wisdom life. Cảm ơn for listening and wish you a great weekend ahead. Cảm ơn.
And utmost感恩 to Brother Ssu-Kuan for bringing us review these stories. Before I actually proceed, can properly introduce Brother Ssu-Kuan. Actually, to those of you who don't already know, Brother Ssu-Kuan is a pure practitioner from Singapore, right? That's why just now we rejoice in seeing Brother Ssu-Kuan's brother in the commissioning this year. So and truly, as what Brother Ssu-Kuan brought to all of us today is how important it is to all of us who are practicing on the path to bring this light of love and light it in the hearts of everyone who we have affinity with, even though that person have one more day to live. Thank you so much, Kan'en, Brother Ssu-Kuan. So without further ado, we would now like to invite, Kan'en, Brother Ssu-Kuan, we have quite a number of comments on the chat, if I may just read some of them. Actually, Sister Siva Mani, who has just returned from commissioning as well, she would like to thank Brother for actually sharing this blessed experience and showing us how Tzu Chi can empower the disabled to walk the Dharma path and pass on the light which they intrinsically have within them. And also Sister Irene as well. And once again, Brother Ssu-Kuan. Yes. And now, without further ado, we would like to invite Brother Joe. Brother Joe is, yes, he's here. Brother Joe very speedily tried to give us his sharing last Saturday. And I believe now Brother Joe has more time today to continue where he left off last week. Please welcome Brother Joe. And
okay, good morning, everybody. And once again, very happy to see everybody online and also as diligent as ever to learn and also to better ourselves. What we have seen from the stories from Brother Ssu-Kuan definitely shown that we can make a difference in the world, and we can definitely, even though it's for one day, or even though it's for a bit of time, not necessarily our change have to be very impactful in our own view. I mean, think about this. What you're doing, if the recipient is you might not feel that it's all that important. However, for someone who was on the last day of his life, he was able to feel and at least see the light from the heaven. And I think that for the person and for that soul to be able to at least see the hope, can you just imagine the last thing that he remembers in this world was the joy and was the support and the love from the people that he may not even remember their names. And so I think it's very important that we always plant these seeds. There are plenty of seeds that were planted. However, the most revealing and the most impactful one were the one that was felt most deeply, and how and the most deeply felt one was obviously the last one where he felt that was the one day in his life, in his 50 or 60 years of life, where he finally tasted the feelings and tasted the air of paradise, of heaven. And I think if you imagine that there's no regrets, I mean, his mind, there isn't a regret that says, I now tasted paradise, but it only lasted for a day. It's more like I was finally able to prove that there is something, there's something more. Okay, so let me so many thanks to Brother Ssu-Kuan for sharing this content, and I think that 3 stories from 3 countries definitely shown us many things, and one of the most impactful one we saw was from the last part, where from the volunteers from Myanmar. Today it's July 1st, and that means officially the first 6 months have been passed in the past now. So 2023 is now half. One half of 2023 is in the past, and now we are heading into the second or the latter half of 2023. Now, for many people, I think for myself, I don't expect myself to. I don't really see myself living beyond the age of 90, but I am at the midpoint, sort of. I'm this year I'm 45, so I don't imagine I can live until 90 years old, but sort of, when you're in the 40s, you begin to think that maybe you're in the middle of your journey in life. So you can think about what you have done in the past first half of your life, and then you can think about what you're going to do in the last half of your life, right? So it makes sense, right? 2023, one half has already gone by. So we look back into 2023, what we have learned, and then we look forward to the next half of 2023. So it should be the same thing of what we do in life. We don't do this during midday, right? We don't do this during 12 o'clock and noon. We think about eating. Eating is something that continues the journey. But something about 2023, half of it is gone, 6 months, and it gets us thinking, right? And when you reach the age of 40 or maybe 50, if you expect yourself to live, maybe to an age of 100 or beyond, or 60, if you think you can live beyond to 120, which is usually what we say, "Japari," that means live until 120. So you begin to think about the first half, and then you think about what you're going to do in the second half. And I think it's always important to first of all, it's always important to make sure that our goal and our final objective hasn't really changed, hasn't changed from the day that we sort of set our goal. And I think in Tzu Chi, one of the most important, intriguing part is we didn't have to really worry about what our goal is going to look like, because most of us should already know. And it's a very lofty goal, is to obtain Buddhahood, right? Master says that why do we practice? Why do we cultivate? Because we know and we hope that there's one day we will attain Buddhahood. And what does that all mean? It means that we will become the perfect self, the perfect being, where we're able to get rid of our afflictions, and we're able to regain or reveal our true Buddha nature. And that's our very lofty goal. But what do we do in the meantime? In the meantime, we shed a little bit of afflictions at a time, and then we follow the path, and then we try to bring many people along with us while we're doing this, and we try to help people, we try to help ourselves. So these are all very straightforward goals, and we hope that in the middle of your journey that we're able to all comprehend, and we're able to think about this ourselves. Now, last week, what we talked about last week, we've been trying to go through the stories, but we have been stuck on the first story, burning house, and I really think that the stories tell us a lot, and I enjoy going deeper, diving deeper into the stories, so that we're able to really gain more insight. And originally, I was trying to get into every story, and then we're trying to match that with 6 parameters. But then I felt that each story actually has a lot more to offer than just the 6 parameters. So as I was going through the stories, it gets to be deeper, and I think it's the fun of it. You know the stories, but sometimes we know the story for what the story tells us, but we failed or we don't really want to or need to look deeper into the stories. Okay, so they really help us reflect. And that's what we talked about last week. We talked about in this parable, the affluent man or the elder or the father, depending on how you want to call this person, but it's the owner of the house, seeing the fire breaking out everywhere, becomes alarmed and terrified. And then why was he terrified? So this is what we talked about last week, because some of his most precious attachments, most precious, most important attachments are still in the house. And these are his children. It's not the big house, it's not the treasures that he has, but it's his children are still trapped in the burning house. And he wants to protect his children. And so last week we talked about this question: what do you wish to protect in this world? There are always things that you wish to hold on to, right? There are always things that you wish to keep or to protect, to safeguard in this world. Think about this. Think about what you're trying to protect in this world, right? Think about what the man that we were just seeing in the story that Brother Ssu-Kuan showed us, right? So he wished, he didn't have much wish, right? He just want to have a clean day, a clean day. He just wished that it doesn't have to be so painful. He just wished that if his wounds would not be infected. He just wished that he could breathe easily. There's just very simple things that we wish for. So maybe what we were trying to achieve, maybe that's one person that we would like to safeguard, we would like to help, we would like to protect in this world. There's so many things that we would like to protect in this world, right? Our parents, our spouse, our siblings, maybe our friends, maybe our children, right? These are the first people that comes into your mind when you're presented with this question. What do you wish to protect? What do you wish to safeguard in this world? When things happen, what do you think about first? You probably don't think about, maybe you do, I don't know. You probably think or may not be thinking about what you are trying to do to yourself in that time. If there's a air raid, I don't know why that would all of a sudden happen, but if there's an air raid or if there's a fire, this is probably the most normal thing that probably would break out around us. And if that would happen, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Oh, I need to get to my mom. Oh, I need to get to my father. Oh, I need to get to my children. There are many things. Okay, so what is it that you wish to protect, right? Can you really protect them all? All these people that's on your list, in your mind, of the people that you want to protect. Can you really protect them all? And how can you protect them? And that's what we talked about last week. Presenting this question so that we can begin to think about this. And then I think one of the key thing is, no matter who this person is, no matter how many people that you're thinking about, you must be willing to let go in order to receive. 你要先舍才能得，舍得。You must be willing to let go in order to receive. You must be making a choice, something that you had to let go in order to get something. And this is also one of the truisms that we'll be talking about for a while. You must be willing to let go of something. For example, you might have to be making a choice. You might have to make a choice between maybe saving your passport with saving your children. Maybe there was something like that. Maybe it's making a choice between saving two people, or you're always presented, and this is probably the joke that everybody knows about, where your girlfriend asks you, if your mom and me were to fall into the river, who would you save? And so you must be willing to let go in order to receive. Or what are you let go? Let go of what you think the answer should be, and trying to just say that I can't save anybody because I don't know how to swim, so you're on your own. That would be probably the best answer you can give. I don't know. I'm not very good at this, but in any event, you must be willing to let go and to receive. And so, what are you willing to sacrifice? That's the key. What are you willing to sacrifice? Because you can't really without sacrifice, you're not able to protect or get anything. There's always a give or take. You have to sacrifice your time or sacrifice your own health in order to protect or save them. There's always a trade-off. There's always a trade-off. When you're doing something, you're not doing something else. So what are you willing to sacrifice? So this week, we head into the story, and then we continue to think about what does the affluent man or the elder or the father, whatever you want to call this person, but what does this protagonist, the main character in this story, what does he think and what does he do? And maybe that would give us an insight into what we would do and what we should do. So it continued this with this story. So the children are already very terrified. The children are not terrified. The elder man is terrified. And he was beginning to think about wanting to save the children. So he was thinking, I am capable of escaping through the burning entrance in safety. So he's thinking, I can do this on my own. My children, not only are they absorbed in play, but they're not aware of the fire. So there are very important problems right here. So they're trapped. And the worst thing is they're not even realizing that they're trapped. Okay, so that's a huge problem, right? So first, he thinks about he can get to safety. So he's okay. But the problem is the children are in danger and they're not even aware of the danger. And that's very bad. So he begins to think about what I should do next, right? So my children do not know and are not alarmed or terrified, and the fire is approaching them. So he explained the current situation, right? The children themselves are not alarmed and terrified. And that's probably a good thing that they're not panicking. However, they're not even realizing that they're in danger. That's a worse thing that's happening, right? So they're not able to activate their self-preservation. They're not able to realize that they're in danger. That's a very serious problem. So they're not troubled by the fire, nor do they intend to leave the house because they are not in danger. They don't think they're in danger. They're not in the escaping mode. They're not in the trying to get out alive mode because they don't feel that they're in trouble. And that's the very most important thing that the elder is trying to think about. So the affluent man father assessed the situation. The children are absorbed in play and they don't know about the fire. Therefore, you're playing, in having fun. You don't know about the fire, and therefore you are not going to be alarmed and terrified. And therefore, you're not intended to leave the house. So this is something that's very straightforward. It's very logical, right? If you are not alarmed, if you are not knowing about the fire and danger, and you're doing something that you wanted to do, and you're absorbing it, then obviously you're not going to try to seek out safety. So the father continued thinking. So assess the situation. And then the father began to think, I'm physically strong. I could take the children out of the house, right, in the folds of my garment. So there are many things that he could do, or on top of the desk. And this is a poor translation, but that's really what it says, in at least verbally, at least sort of in terms of the meaning of the words. But I'm sure there is more deeper insight, which I'm not getting. But so the father says, I am physically strong. Or maybe we should not call him elder because this is a strong person. Physically strong and capable. And obviously you could just grab the children out of the house, right? You can wrap them, right? So if it's a very young baby, you would probably wrap them in the garments, right? We tape them, right? Or you can sort of have a huge platform and every child would just sit on top of it and you just carry the desk. Or I don't know why it's a desk. But anyway, that's what the word says. But so there are many things that you could do to forcefully. And so there's only one entrance to this house and it's very narrow. So obviously you begin to think about why is there only one entrance? And why is, if the house is big and if there are many, many, many children, why is the entrance very narrow? So these are the very key things that when you read the story, you begin to question You know, this is a very bad, because if you build a house and it's supposed to have 200 or 300 people living in it, why would you build it with only one entrance? And why would it be very narrow? So when I get to this part, I did ask the same question myself. So what's the answer? The answer is, I think the translation or the meaning gets a little bit lost. I think what it means is that all the children sort of they're sort of separated in many different rooms, and for every room there's really only one entrance, right? Imagine if the children are playing in their own room. Maybe it's 3 people, maybe it's 5 kids in the same room, right? They're playing in there, and there's really only one door to that room, and it's bunk bed or however it might be, right? So think about this: the room to your children, where they live, where they sleep, and where they maybe do their homework. It's probably going to have one door. It's not going to have many doors. So, and it's usually just very narrow because it's one entrance. It's for one person. Imagine the room to your child is not going to have, like, you know, the opening of the two-sided doors, or it's usually not going to be like this, right? So that's how to imagine, right? So if there are 5 children in there, or 3, even if you're physically strong, you rush into the room, you grab 3 or 5 or however many kids, you wrap them in the garments, or you carry them on the I don't know, on a basket, or whichever that you carry them, right? You wrap them around. The problem is you can't even do this very quickly. That means that even you're physically strong, you are not able to right away quickly grab them and run out of the house, right? So that shows you that even if you're able to do this physically, forcefully grab them and get out, you're not able to do this to many people at one time, because there's only one entrance and it's very narrow. So you rush into your child's room and you can grab one, but if you want to grab the other one, you cannot run very fast because the door is narrow and you can't get through. That's a very logical way of thinking about this. Then we continue reading the parable. The children who are immature and still unaware, they're attached to their place of play. Now that adds to the more difficulties, because while you're grabbing them, they might be flaring their arms and they no, I don't want to leave. So they're immature and they're unaware of what you're trying to do. So they're very attached to their place of play. They're not willing to let go of what they're doing. So what are you going to do? So they may fall into danger and be burned by the fire. So the father thinks, I should now tell them of the danger. Now, the affluent, the father, consider these options, right? Number 1, physically carry them out, but there are problems. The door, right? The door is narrow and there's only one door. So even if I carry them out, or it's going to be not very easy. You might still be trapped. The problem is you can physically carry them out, but it's not going to really work out well. There's only one door and it's narrow, and the children are attached to the places of play. So there are many things that could go wrong. You can carry them out, and then because they don't know about the danger, they will just walk back in. So there are many things that the father thought about, right? So what did he do? The father, right? The father says, this house is already burning. They must escape as quickly as they can to avoid being burned by the fire. But they don't know it's on fire. They're not aware of the danger. They're not terrified. They're not doing anything, and they're attached to what they're playing. So all the options are failing, and all the choices and decisions are bad. So what did the father say? What did the father do? He shouted out. He said, children, run out immediately. Now, he chose his method, right? He shouted out what we need to do, what the children need to do. Even though, I mean, as we go through the stories, as we go through what he was thinking, even though he knew the children did not realize the fire, they are not aware of the danger, they are not scared, and they're absorbed in play. So imagine that when you shout it out to your children and you tell them, it's time to lunch. It's time for lunch. and they're absorbed in what they're doing with their friends or with, the siblings. And you know that if you shout out the first time, they're probably not going to listen. Usually in my home, my dad would have to say, I'm going to count to 3. I don't know about your family, but that's what my father does. I'm going to count to 3. And usually he will start counting 3. Well, this is 1, 2, 3, or 3, 2, 1. And when we know, and when the counting starts, usually when the counting hasn't started yet, we're probably not going to move, right? I'm going to count to 3. The threat is not there. 1, the threat is now real. So then we begin to move our butt. So that's what the father decided to do. The father decided that even though he knew the children did not know about the fire, even though that they're not aware of danger, but the father shouted out the answer, but there was no threat in what he was saying. So the children are not scared, are not aware of the danger, and they did not know fire. So the child are still absorbed in play. That means they're not going to care about what the father is going to say. And so was he wrong? Was the father wrong? And this is something that I ask myself many, many, many times. The story in the parable is trying to tell us that the father is faced with an impossible decision. You know that the children are not going to listen to you. And as parents, you probably go through this every day. You know that they're absorbed, and you know that the first thing you say to them probably are not going to be the final thing you said to them. Meaning that you're going to have to take up, you're going to have to advance in your forcefulness in order to make the children or make the people re-aware what you're trying to do. So was he wrong to make that choice? So this is something that I always ask. What is infallible? What does infallible mean? Infallible means incapable of making mistakes or being wrong. And usually we attach this word to saints or to people with noble virtues or Buddha, right? God, Buddha, these saints or heavenly beings usually is what we attach this word infallible to. Now we know from our understanding and teachings from the Buddhist teachings that there are 6 realms. And one of the 6 realms is called the heavenly realm. And they are beings where they have much more blessings than the beings from the other realms. And therefore, they have more enjoyment and they have more joy, essentially. But they are still capable of making mistakes. So in our minds, the realms where beings do not make mistakes probably only fall into definitely the Buddhahood, those that have attained Buddhahood, or and probably the bodhisattvas. So that's usually what we think about. The Guan Yin, for example, the bodhisattva of compassion. Usually we would be thinking that they would not be making mistakes. They would be making the right decisions. So usually that's who we pray for, who we pray to. Okay, so what is infallible? It basically means incapable of making mistakes. And usually we attach this word to describe Buddha. So the Buddha, or in this story, the father, shout out the answer, right? Shout out the answer. So although their father, in his concern, has given them the proper advice. What was the advice? Get out of the house, right? It's on fire. So he said the right thing. But the children are immersed in their play and do not accept it. So the father knew that the children were already immersed in their play. The father knew that they are very not likely to accept it. So they are neither alarmed nor afraid and have no intention of leaving the burning house. And that's true, right? That's true. So moreover, they do not even know what a fire is, the condition of the house, what they may lose. They merely run about back and forth, looking at their father, thinking that he must be crazy, saying all these things. That's not true. So the question now becomes, this outcome, it's probably something that we expect already. We expected the children to not run out. We expected the children to still not be aware of the fire. And we expected this to not work. So if we knew, all the people in this world that read the story knew that it wasn't going to be working, why did the Buddha or why did the Father still do this? Why? So continue reading the parable. Thereupon the affluent man, or the father, this house is already engulfed in flames. If my children and I do not get out, we shall perish in the fire. I will now use skillful means to help my children escape from this disaster. So you might be thinking, right? You might be thinking that if the father knew that what he was saying wasn't going to work, if the father knew that what he was trying to do is not going to work because they're absorbed in their play and you can't physically carry them out and they're not aware of the fire and they're not terrified. If the father already knew, then how would this make, it would not make any difference if the father shouted out this fire. So just now, the father saw that it wasn't going to work and it didn't work. Then the father says, I will now use skillful means to help my children escape from this disaster, right? So why not straight? Why do not just go straight to the skillful means? What were you waiting for? Why did you try to even do something that you knew it wasn't going to work? Why? Did he make a mistake? Did the father make a mistake of trying to peacefully to tell them the real thing, tell them that it's on fire, so you should get out, even though the father knew that the children are absorbed in play? So why not just go straight to the skillful means? And so hearing, so the father obviously presented them with toys, skillful means. The children, hearing what their father had said about the rare toys, became excited, and in their eagerness to get to the children, they push each other out of the way in a mad rush to run out of the burning house. So obviously the skillful means really, really worked. It really worked. And this is something that you sort of wanted to see, at least in the story, because the skillful means really worked out the way that the father thought about working, right? So they push each other out. So this whole thing completely changes. It goes from something that was failing. The father knew they had to get out, but the father used a way that wasn't good enough. So it wasn't working until the skillful means came out. And now they're in a mad rush to get out of the house. So something changed, right? So the affluent man saw his children got out safely and sitting unharmed in an open area at a crossroad. So he was relieved, happy, and joyful. So finally, the story is about to come to an end, right? So the whole point that we saw was the man assessed the situation. The father assessed the situation, realized the children were absorbed, realizing the children are not aware of the fire and they're not terrified. They are not afraid of the fire. And then he made a choice to shout out, to go with the most direct way, to tell them the truth. And lo and behold, it did not work. So then he assessed the situation again, and then he began to say the skillful ways. And the skillful ways worked. The skillful ways worked out, right? The children. So eventually, when the children came out, the children said to their father, "Father, please give us the toys you promised." And so the mission is not yet accomplished because now you have to present the toys that you said that you were going to give them, right? So, okay, so before we move on to the next part that we're going to be talking about, which is also very interesting. The mission is not yet accomplished, but I wanted to go back the story before where let me see, hang on. Okay, so this PPT doesn't have the next part. Okay, so I wanted to get through to the part where the father said to the children said to their father, no, hang on. Okay, so I want to get to the part where the complete changes happen. The story here tells you that why not just go straight? Joyful. Let me get to that here. So why not go straight to the skillful means? There are many thoughts when we were discussing this particular part about the story. There are many things that we thought was important. Number one, why did the Buddha not go straight to the skillful means? Why did the Buddha, upon obtaining enlightenment, why did the Buddha still have to tell us the true things that he knew that we weren't ready for? And I think it falls into many reasons. One of the most important reasons is, I think, that the Buddha still believed that out of all the children that's in the fire, some of them has the capacities to realize and to learn when you tell them the truth. I think that not all the children are fooled or completely attached to their play. Not all the children are unable to listen and to follow what the father had to say. Not all of them. So the Buddha must try to tell the real direct path, to tell them it's on fire, we gotta go. And there are disciples that got it at the very first time that the father shouted out. But there are more that did not get it. That's why you need the second step. You sort of need to have a in-between steps in order for you to get to the final step. This is almost like if you're teaching anything, right? If you're teaching English to your children, right? You start with alphabets. Some people learn faster, some people learn slower. If you're teaching mathematics to children, some people learn quicker, some people learn slower. And those that learn quicker, or those children that actually got it right away, you can skip certain steps, you get to the next step. But some people need to follow step by step, right? And they just learn things slower. It doesn't mean that they're bad at it. It's just that they need to build onto that skill set. So I believe that the Buddha or the father still believe in the true stories. I need to let them know. And there are some, even though very small number of people, children, that will get it right away. And the important thing is that when these children get it right away, they are able to help the father to relay the message to even more people. And this is the truth. This is also what we're seeing in Tzu Chi, right? There are volunteers that get it, right? They are more experienced, and they have been Tzu Chi longer. They have been able to be with Sangren, be with master longer. So they get it. So when master says something, these people will sprint to action and right away pave the road. So other volunteers after that will be able to walk the path. So I really think that this is not a mistake where even after all the assessments, you made a choice that is not optimal. And the reason why it's not optimal is because it depends on who you're speaking to. So I really think that the parents, like for example, when my mom shouted, it's time for lunch or it's time for dinner, usually we're not moving, because my mom always thinks that let's not break the mood, right? Let's try to have a very happy and joyful dinner, right? Let's not break the mood by start counting to 3, right? So there is always a hope. It does work, right? When the mother says it's time for dinner, sometimes we do make it on time, right? So there is still a possibility, but most of the time, usually the kids fail to arrive at the dinner table right away. So that's what happens. And I really think that from here, we begin to look deeper into what it means. Okay, so next week, we're going to go into the story again, and then we're going to be thinking about what does that mean in terms of giving. Can you be giving something? Can you be giving something that the person does not really want to receive? What does it mean to give? And what does this story tell us about giving? Okay, so the way that I think about these stories, and this is what I always do to myself, is that I look into the stories that Master tells us in the morning, in the Dharma talks. And I try to think about what would I do in that person. And I put myself into the shoes of the different characters. Sometimes I'm the father, sometimes I am the children, and sometimes I'm the one that gets it, sometimes I'm the one that misses it. But whatever it is, when you are playing, when you're role playing in the story, it gives you much more understanding. It's much more fun when you begin to think about the story, and so the Dharma is not so dry. Okay, so thank you for this for today. It's always fun to go into the story, and it's a lot more fun if we're able to discuss it in person. You will be able to role play, and then you will be able to think about why is this the case. And when you do that, it goes so much deeper, and then you think about, so that's what Master was trying to say, and it was not easy. So thank you all, and I hope that you enjoy this. I like doing this because it gives me a lot of relaxation, and it gives me a lot of insight, and it makes the Dharma fun, which I think it really is. And so next we're gonna have Brother David, who is gonna make the Dharma really fun for all of us. Okay, thank you. Until next week. Thank you.
To Brother Joe, who has actually given us such a wonderful take on how to relate the sutras, how to actually the 3 steps, looking at the story, listening to the story, putting ourselves into different roles and characters in the story, and to have a better understanding. And I really like what Brother said just now, that when we look at a story, if we just read on the surface, we may fail to understand what truly is the essence of the story. Just like Brother Joe said just now, when his mom called them for dinner, nobody listens, right? But my mom still has to tell everyone that, hey, dinner is ready, and that is the truth. All right. So I think this resonates with us, because sometimes we are afraid to tell the people the truth as it is, you know. But if we do not, then maybe we actually miss out on the opportunity, because some people may be able to resonate. So out of the kids who hears that, hey, dinner is ready, some may just go straight to the dinner. But some kids may need the mother to say, hey, do you know I have your favorite food on the table? Yeah. So I think today we are really grateful to be able to have 3 great, wonderful Pusa to actually guide us on the path. And before we actually go to Brother David, we would like to gather everyone to take a group photo with Brother Joe, Brother Ssu-Kuan, and of course, Brother David. Brother Ssu-Kuan, is he still on the platform? So can everybody please switch on your video? Yeah, I think Brother Ssu-Kuan has left. I'm so sorry. We should have done this earlier on. All right. So maybe have Sister YY to help us take the picture. Yeah. And those who can switch on your video, kindly please switch on your video so that we can commemorate this moment. They say good things come in a pair, but wondrous things come in a trio. So today we have a trio of Brother Ssu-Kuan, Brother Joe Huang, and also Brother David. Yeah, and so much for the wondrous Dharma Dana. So we look forward to Brother Joe's sharing on the next week or the coming time where it's available. All right, thank you so much. And now we'd like to invite Brother David. Brother David, ni hao.
Good morning, everybody,
Good morning,
brothers and sisters.
Trust there's so much Dharma joy from last week, the week before.
Can you hear me?
This week as well. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Can. Yes, we can hear you clearly, Brother David.
Clear? Is it clear?
Clear, clear.
Okay. A very good morning to
David.
brothers and sisters. Beautiful Saturday. Today and tomorrow is day off in Taiwan. But in Su Ching, 30 years, I never have Saturday and Sunday. Non-stop. Yeah. Always keep running, keep running. Okay. Time flying now. Already 1 month. But seems so fast. I just remember I gave the sharing something like last week. But now again, coming again. So when you are busy to do something meaningful, you feel the time is passing very fast, right? Yeah, so the happy days, let us feel time flying. But the suffering days let us feel so slow, right? 度日如年呐。If the life is so much suffering, you feel the time is very slow, right? Hard to pass. Yeah, but if every day is very happy, you feel the time flying very fast. Okay. So have to keep the good mood every day. But how? Everybody knows how to. Everybody wants to keep the happy mood every day. But you must have 心中有法. You must have the Buddha Dharma into your heart. Without Buddha Dharma into our heart, then we feel no power, no energy. Right? So, like this English sharing section, must keep diligent, non-stop. Every week, right? This sharing section is every week, right? Yeah, not easy. Yes. Not easy. Just like my direct broadcast every Sunday night. But really not easy. Before pandemic, we have more free time because all the country and the city locked down. So we cannot go out, we cannot go abroad. So the activities slow down or cancel. We have more free time to prepare for my live broadcast. But now all the physical activity already restored. So every day become very busy now, so busy. Not only I'm busy, our team for this live broadcast, around 25 persons. Everybody feel busy now. So from maybe after 3 or 4 episodes, I start to slow down, to reduce my, to make it shorter. Before it's 40 minutes, now I want to make it shorter, around 30 minutes, to reduce everybody's burden. Yeah. So these are 与时俱进 go together with the current situation and adjust. And before 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, I think everybody knows, right? The international Tzu Chi volunteer come back to Taiwan to participate in this certification ceremony. 受证仪式啊 2 team, okay, 2 batch. First batch is only for Malaysia. For Malaysia, around 600 volunteers come to get certification of commissioner. Okay, and together with the senior volunteer, accompany with those new volunteers to Taiwan, around 800 volunteers from Malaysia. Quite big team, you know. But last week already finished the second batch. Except the Malaysian volunteers, there are around 600 volunteers come back for certification. But you can know, just now I say the volunteer come back for the certification, around 600 persons. This is only for Malaysia. Outside Malaysia, around 20 countries, total 600 volunteers. The total quantity similar as Malaysia, but the second page is 20 countries. The first one is Malaysia, 600 volunteers. The second country is Indonesia, 190 come back for certification. The third one is Singapore, 130. The other country, total around 600. Yeah. So from this figure, we can realize during these 3 years pandemic, how efforts every country doing, we can know. Malaysia is very strong. even past these 3 years, but still keep 600 volunteers come back for certification. This really we can know. Even in pandemic, they still keep diligent always. Okay, so this result can tell us something. No, but I feel very surprised because from US, from US, around 20 volunteers come back for certification. These 3 years, 3 years only more around 20 volunteers come back for certification. So, but I don't mean to make comparison, only to give us a hint. You want to do such activities, must keep consistent, keep diligent. Maybe you will feel it is not easy to keep diligent, but as long as we already get used to it, get used to have the busy life every day, then you don't feel it is busy. You don't have this feeling for busy, because it's just a habit, right? I'm very busy, but I don't feel I'm very busy. This is my lifestyle. This is my daily life. I already used to it, right? If some people, they don't used to be busy, even only one thing to do, he feels very busy, very busy. I don't think you only you only do one thing only. Why you feel busy? But normally he didn't do anything. So he do only one thing, he feel very busy, right? So there is a reason. There is a reason. It's a true reason to tell us it is difficult to go from slack to diligent. It is easy go from diligent to slack. True or not? Right? Yeah. So we are lucky in abode because master never rest. 分秒不空过啊 Master 经验 yeah, she cherished every 1 minute, every 1 second. So we are in abode. We are forced to be diligent as well. Yeah, no time to be lazy, So this kind of diligence also forced by the situation. So sometimes we are grateful for this power, Although at the beginning we feel very tired, because why so many meetings, so many online, for masters to stay every day from morning till night, so many online, especially for Nepal and India, as you know, right? Master want to do something in Nepal and India, right? For example, I think 2 months ago, the team from Malaysia and Singapore in charge of Nepal, they came back to abode. 10 days, 10 days, So there are so many meetings in abode together with the Changdu Sifu and master. Okay, after 10 days, they went back. After 5 days, they came back. The Zhongzhao Zhu staff, the colleague told me, David Liu, can you participate the online for Nepal? So what? They just went back, They had so many meetings above already. What's new? We want to discuss online again. See, only 5 days. Oh, no, they left only 5 days. We still have online. So we can see the master also very mindful, She always want to create the affinity. And this is also a wondrous dharma for master to teach her disciples. We can think so, If master, she doesn't call so many online meetings, then we will feel nothing to do because no meeting, so no need to prepare, right? So very easy life, nothing happened. So very easy, But now always call meetings here, there, this country, that country. So everybody become nervous, especially the colleague in Zhongzhao Zhu. Yeah. They have to just how do they tightened the screw. They have tightened the screw, you know, cannot be hit too easy. So just now I say, this is my experience, you know. It is difficult to go from slack to diligent. It is easy to go from diligent to slack. So we need to push each other, right? Like this morning, we have this English sharing session. If we don't have this session, what will I do? Right? What will I do? What should you do? What should you do if you don't have this session? Right? You won't get up earlier. Maybe you can sleep some more. Maybe you can prepare to go out, eat something good. But you have this sharing section. You have to get up earlier and you have to prepare. Right? If you want to share, you have to prepare as well. So we feel very lucky to participate in such activities, especially when you retire. Without such activities, what should you do? What you do? What do you do? Right? Every morning, get up. What to do? Nothing to do. Something like the patient, you know. If you want to go out for shopping, right, to look around, go around every day, you know. So you look like the Liu Lang Han, you know, Liu Lang Han. So Liu Lang Han. Just go here, come here, go there, just nothing to do, right? So for me, it's a very strong experience because I participate in Su Ching and under Master Ching's teaching, right? Because we have a master who is very diligent. That's why we have to follow her teachings. No way to escape. Just follow her. Keep diligent every day. This make our life very meaningful. This make our career very good. So, like this English sharing section, you have to keep. Another one I participate is Cantonese group. Same thing. Another one in Myanmar. In Myanmar, because Myanmar now, the political situation is quite worse, right? Because they won't allow the Tzu Chi volunteer to do the home visit with uniform. Not only you cannot easily to go to the home visit, you cannot wear the uniform. They will be very sensitive because what is your group? Everybody wear uniform. So they cannot do anything there now. How to do the Tzu Chi activities. That's why now the Nepal and India is very good affinity. The Malaysia and Singapore team, they went there. They have so many things to do. Before the Master Ching Yen focus on Lumpini because this is the hometown of Buddha. You know. But they feel something wrong because all the volunteers go to Lumpini, only can stay there 150 days. That means 5 months only. After 5 months, you have to leave the country. Then you want to come back. Okay, next year. But so many things to do there. You know, how come after 5 months you come back and waiting for the next year? So 有佛法就有办法. How to say? As long as we have the Buddha Dharma, we have wondrous Dharma. All right. 有佛法就有办法。Okay, because the area that the Buddha did 他的什么怎么讲啊 travel, yeah. The Buddha travel in Nepal and India area, right? Around the Lumpini, Bodhigaya, right? This whole area is the Buddhist, it's the Buddha before he tripped. So this gives us the opportunity because the Bodhigaya is in India. So the team came back to report to Master. Master supposed the team still in Nepal, you know. That's why sometimes they report to Master about the activities in India. The Master Ching suppose this is in Nepal. That's why the Master get confused. This issue you already discussed before. Why you repeat again? You know, Master here is in India. The Master say, why you go to India? I only want to focus in Lumpini. I want to do something. I want to repay to Buddha's hometown in Lumpini. Why you go to India? They say, Master, because we want to long stay in Nepal, but the longest day we only can stay 5 months. After 5 months, we have to leave and wait until next year. This cannot do something. Now we have wondrous Dharma. We have one good way to solve. After 5 months finish in Nepal, we go to India, nearby Nepal. The same area of the Buddha before he tripped 2,500 years ago. This whole big area is all have the Buddha's footprint there. So this solves the problem, right? And in India, they can stay six months. They stay 6 months in India. So 5 months in Nepal, then go to India 6 months, 11 months, right? Then still 1 month, how to do? Come back to Taiwan to report to Master. So become very圆满. That's why now 2 teams, 1 team in Lumpini, 1 team in India. But you can see there are a lot of things to do. In Nepal and India, especially in India. Because Lumpini, that area is very small, not many population, right? Very limited. But in India, in Bodhigaya, India, that is their inland, right? That is the Indian inland, you know. So nearby Bodhigaya, a big scope of Indian territory, all very poor, especially in this countryside. So you can see there are so many opportunities to promote such activities there. Not only Nepal, in India, Bodhigayas. So many places whose the name we already familiar in our sutra, right? 什么虎行林啊，什么牧羊女呀，有没有？ We also read from the sutra, but now we feel very close to us because our team is there now and do something to help the people there. So many opportunities in India. So this will be a very big opportunity for Malaysia and Singapore. But Master has long-term view, or already give the hints to the Nepalese and Indian team. Remind them, every one of you, not only do the jobs in Nepal and India, you in Singapore and in Malaysia, everybody of you still have so many activities to do. Not only you stay in Nepal and India, in Malaysia and Singapore, you still have so many missions to do. What do you mean by this? Must remind them, please speed up to pass down your experience to the local volunteers. So must go step by step. At the beginning, the team from Singapore and Malaysia, they are very diligent to promote and so many charity missions there. After something, we can see the good result. The master remind us again. Not all of you stay there long term. You have to recruit more volunteers from Malaysia and Singapore. Not only this, very important thing is you have to recruit more local volunteers, the seeds of great love in Nepal and India. And this will keep long term for Tzu Chi activities. So you see, you can see the master always teach her disciples. Never stop, never end. 没有化成，化成你知道吗？化成，化成呐、啊，没有化成、啊。
Conjure city, conjure city,
conjective,
conjure city, 化成。
conjure city,
conjure city,
conjure city, conjure city. No conjure city. For master to say, I have no conjure city. 没有化成。Always go straight down, go directly to the final destination. This is the long-term view of Master Ching Yen. We have to learn. Now we always do something good and feel very satisfied what we do. Then we will stay there. We will stay there because we take it as our conjecture, right? But conjecture is now not our final destination. The master, she has long-term view. Tell you, go again, go again. Don't stop here. Don't stop. That means our team cannot stop. Although you already passed down your experience or your comprehension to the local volunteer, the local volunteer still have to go continue to go. So this is what I'm in a boat. I want to learn. 诶，现在的时间到了吗？6:15啊，没有还
没到8:20。
很好，好。
好，感恩。
So this is my purpose. I stay in the boat. I want to learn. You know, any change in this situation. For example, the pandemic. How much the Ching Yen to manage? How much the Ching Yen did the Tzu Chi volunteer to face this changing situation? How much the use her wisdom to deal with this situation? We want to learn. Even in pandemic, before I already shared with you, right? No stop. Although the country's lockdown, city lockdown, we cannot go abroad. The other country also cannot go each other. Everybody stay at home. Cannot do anything. But Master Ching Yen remind us, since we want to be a living Buddha. In this critical moment, so many people living in suffering and torturing. This is the right moment that the Buddha, the bodhisattva, go to help them. How come all the bodhisattva stay at home, nothing to do, become jobless? There's something wrong. So 3 years ago, at the beginning of the pandemic, Master already remind us, no, not like this. Everybody stay at home and cease the activity, stop activity, cancel activity. No, not this. You have facing this critical situation. Especially, we have to use our compassion and wisdom together. 悲智双运啊. Yeah, that's why in March I went to Malaysia, Singapore, and Vietnam. I discovered one phenomenon. Not only I discovered by myself, the senior volunteer in Malaysia, Singapore, and Vietnam told me also. They say, now we start to have the physical activities, right? Physical, following physical activities. But we feel the power of recruit, the power of promotion become weak. True or not? It is difficult to recruit more people to join our physical activities. Even our sharing, I went there. They said, now we want to recruit, to invite some volunteer come to our Jinshi Tang to participate in this sharing. Feel very tough because many people, they already have 3 years rest. They already have 3 years rest. Become a bit slack. So you want them to go from slack to diligent. It is difficult, all right? This is the reason. So now we have to restore our diligence again. So like before, the car already stopped the engine. Now you want to start engine and keep running. So you have to step by step, gradually, Yeah. But it's not especially, but as long as we are on the right track, yeah, it never mind you go fast or slow, right? The only one risky thing is you are running so fast, but on the wrong track, and this is very dangerous. So still good, we are on the right track in Tzu Bodhisattva path. 只要找到路，不怕路遥远了 right? As long as you find the track, yeah. 不怕路遥远了。不怕路遥远怎么
Not
讲？
to worry about the journey, the length of the journey, so long we are on the right path or right track.
Yeah. So all of us still very lucky after the pandemic. We still very consistent together online, right? Okay. In July, I'm going to Cambodia and Vietnam again for my second trip after pandemic, because some Ssu Ching affair to undergo, to manage. Yeah, to have so many problems need to solve for those Ssu Ching contact point in Pusa Dao, in Bodhisattva path. Not always smooth, right? Sometimes we have the hurdle, need to jump. Sometimes we have problem, need to solve. You want to solve, you have the Wanderer's Dharma. So this is the way we pass down our experience, yeah, to share with the Ssu Ching contact point. Okay, 8:20 already.
Brother David,
Okay.
still got 6 minutes.
We still have 6 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Today's sharing is something like the meal without menu. 无料理菜单啊. The meal without menu. I don't know where Malaysia have this kind of restaurant. I don't know. You have?
Yeah.
And Taiwan also have. You don't have menu to choose the food.
At home is like that. At home is like that.
At home
在
is
家
that.
里炒就是这样啦。
对，无菜单的啦 ，no menu for me.
No menu.
Yeah, what I have, I cook. Yeah, what I have, I share. Really. The Ssu Ching, before a few days, the Ssu Ching asked me, Brother David, what is your topic? I say, I don't know how to give topic. I don't know how to give
Ning-
coffee. No, no menu, no menu.
Actually, it's okay, Brother David. Everything that comes together is good affinity. 都是好姻缘。
Yeah, not so 不是很严肃的啦哦。Just
对。
give us some new
But
new concept and new information.
right. I don't know if there's anybody having a question to forward to Brother David. Maybe we have some time. Maybe we seize the time. We still have 4 minutes. Maybe we have from the floor. If there are any questions for Brother David, maybe supposedly is we have questions, right? So maybe we'd like to ask Brother David. I have one question. I have one question. Sorry?
I see many
Brother,
people online.
Yeah, still about 20 of us.
Many people online, yeah, today.
Yeah.
Okay.
May we understand why is it that in the certification you mentioned that there are 600 Malaysian volunteers who went back for certification, and then Indonesia is a bigger country, 190, Singapore 130, and USA 10.
20.
Yeah, 20. 20. Yeah. So but during the pandemic, we are continuously, diligently, Tzu Chi volunteers, even though we cannot go out, there are still many things that went on. But how, may we understand why is there such a vast difference in the numbers from your perspective? Yeah.
Normally in this bad situation, especially the Tzu Chi activity already stop or cancel. Of course, this will affect the effect of our recruitment for the new volunteers, right? Right. Everybody will see this is normal, right? Because this is it's something like this is a pandemic, right? This caused so many activities stop, so not many people participate. The volunteer or the number of the certification become less. This is very normal, right? This for the 一般人的想法. Normal people will think so, right? This is very normal. But we are running on the way for attempt for Buddhahood. We want to learn Buddhism. Then we want to get compassion together with wisdom, how to overcome this difficult situation, right? We are not normal person. We are the person who is learning Buddhism. Should be something different from the other ordinary human, right? So we want to use the wondrous Dharma. Since we are learning Buddhism already, we want to use the wondrous Dharma, right? In this normal situation, we want to do something abnormal. That's why Master Ching say, 关怀如常, right? 有没有? 精进如常.
As usual. As usual.
Right? Everything as usual, right? Believe as usual, right? Keep diligence as usual. Why Master say so? That remind us, don't be affected by the external circumstance.
Situation.
Yeah, this don't affected by the external situation. Yeah. Why Malaysia, they still keep so many? Number one in the world, 600 volunteers come back for certification. You start to see this figure, you just see this result, 600 volunteers. But you have to know behind these 600 volunteers, how they working hard, do their efforts, non-stop to recruit more new volunteers to participate Tzu Chi and give them new concept, right? Keep everything as usual, not because of the pandemic, slow down the speed. No. That's why we say, 外行看热闹，内行看门道. So many Taiwanese people, they say, why Malaysia so many? 600 volunteers come back. Why? But other country, very, very few. This is not 1 year, this is 3 years, accumulate in these 3 years, If 600 divided by 3 years, means each year only 200, right?
200.
But still still less than before, right? Before Malaysia, not 1 year, 200 volunteers, more, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But better, compare with other countries. Malaysia is still very strong. But other countries very obviously become less, right? For example, in US, 3 years, 20 volunteers come back for certification. That means every year how much? How many? 6 only, 7. For Indonesia, 190 divided by 3 years. Every year, only 65 volunteers. Every year, only 65 volunteers for the people who are qualified for certification, right? Still less. That's why I say the core team in Malaysia, the core team in other countries, same thing. Although we are in a difficult situation, still have to use the wondrous Dharma to overcome these difficult situation. This is the reason why we want to learn Buddhism. Must be something different as before, right? Before we don't have so much wisdom to overcome so many things, but now we have, because we have Dharma power. Because we participate so many such activities, keep consistent, non-stop, and accumulates until long time. We see the effect already. I have Buddha Dharma. I have Buddha Dharma already. Yeah, this is the reason. Okay.
Yes. Thanks so much, Brother David, for your wonderful insights. Truly, when we consistently accumulate. Yeah, Brother Robert is here.
Robert is very diligent.
Brother Robert would like to say a few words. Come. Represent Malaysia English
group. Always joyful to see Brother David full of energy and always looking good and always diligent. Yeah, never change.
You know why? Because you know why? I have no time to be lazy.
Yeah.
I'm forced to be diligent. I'm forced, you know. But I'm happy. I'm very happy to be forced. Right?
Yes.
We have to grateful for somebody force us.
Yeah.
We have grateful for master force us.
Yeah, all of us accompany each other. Yeah, accompanying each other. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why, like this kind of sharing section cannot stop.
Yeah, I think I do agree with you, Brother David. I think our Malaysians volunteers are very obedient. Very obedient.
Then you will see the effect. 路遥知马力呀. Right. You will see your power as long as you can run long time. Right.
Yeah.
Brother.
Thanks so much. Brothers. Thanks so much, Brother David, for the wonderful, wondrous Dharma.
Thank you for giving me this morning meditation. Give me this opportunity to learn.
Okay, so we've come to the end of our session today. Brothers and sisters, kanan everybody for your kind diligence.
Okay. Thank
Sister
you.
Su Ching, would you like to say a few words? While I go and switch off my alarm.
Okay, 真的是我 very grateful to our 3 great bodhisattvas, from Brother Ssu-Kuan to Brother Joe and Brother David. Very grateful, and Brother David every month without fail surely will come to benefit us. And today's session, I'm so thinking of the topic. Actually, to us, it's very good because what Brother David shared, no one will share. We know this kind of topic you cannot get anywhere, any place.
This is Dharma breakfast. This is Dharma breakfast.
Continue. Let us brainstorm on the best topic for Brother David. On this, we will come back to Brother David on the topic for this either the Q&A or this wondrous session.
Okay. Okay. Bye bye.
Sister Stephanie, you're muted. Muted, Sister Stephanie.
Muted.
Today we have Dharma buffet breakfast.
Dharma breakfast. Okay.
Dharma buffet breakfast from Hualien. So anyway, okay, to close, right? We like to say 感恩 to everybody. especially Brother David, Brother Joe Huang, and also Brother Ssu-Kuan for lots of heartfelt sharing and wisdom. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for your presence today, and hope that each of us could sustain the Dharma joy and take in another piece of Master and Hualien love into our life. So let us now perhaps invite Brother David to lead us in making 3 vows to Master Cheng Yen and also Buddha as we depart to apply these teachings in our daily lives. Please rise. First bow. Second bow. And third bow. And a bow to our beloved Shifus at the abode. So with that, we'd like to end our sharing today.感恩 for the wonderful Dharma breakfast buffet.
Bye-bye.
See you again, Brother David.
David.
As we all move forth to be diligent for the day. Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.